Hey YouTube, welcome back to the Virtuous Bodies YouTube channel. I am Dr. Tamara Richards, and I am going to be breaking down all things meal prep. I have a question for you. Have you ever tried meal prep? And if you tried it and you're like, girl, I tried it and I'm never doing it again because it was just way too much for me. Or you see other people doing it, you like, girl, that is just way too much. I'm not even doing it. Or the process just intimidates you. It is okay. Help is here. I am about to break down my framework to really help busy moms learn how to incorporate this into your lifestyle so that you can not only feed healthy meals and consistent meals to yourself, but to your kids. Okay. So let's go ahead, let's dive in and let's get into it. I don't care if I am onboarding a new client or if I'm talking to you about meal prep. I think it is always important for everyone to establish their why, okay? Because the why is what is going to propel you when you don't feel like doing nothing. When you don't feel like going to the park to take your kids to the park, your why is their joy. When you don't feel like showing up in the gym, your why is you have a vacation you want to get to, okay? You have to think about the why. But in those instances, those whys can be attached to a should. Well, I should go to the gym because I have a vacation, or I should take my kids to the park so I can make sure that they're happy. When you are establishing your why for life-changing events, that why has to be attached to a must. I must go to the gym and work out because my doctor just gave me a bad report and I'm going to turn this thing around. I must eat better because I see I have gained 20 pounds and I know that diabetes and heart attacks is in my family, and I'm going to plead the blood of Jesus against that. So you have to put a must attached to your why when you are trying to really make some life-changing choices. So what is your why behind meal prepping? Why do you want to meal prep? Is it the trend and you see everybody else doing it? It look like it worked for Susie Joe. So you like, you know what? I love Susie Joe. She got 200,000 followers. Let me go ahead and do it. Or is your why is I don't want to repeat generational curses and end up with the same complications as my family. And I definitely don't want that for my kids. I want to see a mirror of myself in them. So let me start doing things now so that they can build healthy habits through what I'm doing. The reason why I'm saying this is because meal prep is not for the faint at heart, okay? And we're going to get into it, okay? So when you don't want to do it, you got to hold on to that why. Like, I am about to get up and go to boot camp, okay? I got to go pick my kids. I got to do a grocery run. But guess what? I have to incorporate that into my schedule because I must care about my health. I must care about my well-being, my energy levels. So I have a must attached to my why. I must be around for my kids, for my family, for my husband, for my business. That is my why. So when you are establishing why you should even start meal prepping, I want you to write down 2 or 3 reasons why it is important for you to meal prep. Now, once you do that, I want you to hold on to that because I'm gonna tell you right now, when it's Sunday and your husband have his feet up, when your kids are out back running around, they running up and down the stairs, they doing all this, and you in the kitchen looking like, for real, this is what I'm doing on a Sunday, girl, you're gonna need that why, okay? You have to get that why to make you get through it. Just grab a glass of wine and recite your why in your mind and keep going at it. Let's talk about the benefits of meal prep. The first thing is the time, okay? You are going to save a ton of time when it comes to meal prep. Let me paint this out for you. Let's say that you're somebody who runs to the grocery store 3 to 4 times a week. Maybe on Sunday, again on Tuesday, again on Thursday, maybe on Friday or Saturday, you go back to the grocery store. Let's just say you go 3 times a week, okay? Now, we already know if we're a mom, we dragging our kids with us, okay? We got to take them out of the car seat. We got to do all this other stuff. So a simple run that could be 20, 30 minutes just with just us turns into an hour trip with kids, okay? So we're going to say it's an hour every time you go to the store. So let's say you go into the store 3 times in 1 week. That's 3 hours, right? Now you got to drive yourself and your kids home, go and cook these meals that you done brought from the grocery store, okay? And so that's going to take you at least 30 minutes to an hour. So let's say that each day of the week you are spending an hour in the kitchen, all right? So 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, that's 5 hours. And then you add the 3 hours that you run to the grocery store, that's 8 hours a week that you are spending on grocery shopping, prepping your meals, and cooking your meals if you're cooking every single day. For meal prep, let's say you spend 15, 30 minutes planning out your recipe. You take an hour to go to the grocery run, that's an hour and a half already. On Sunday or Saturday when it's time to prep, it may take you only 2 hours to do that. So we're at 3.5 hours versus 8 hours within a week. It saves you time. Time that you can give to your kids, time that you can go and do self-care for yourself, time that you can sit at the Lord's feet and meditate to get through your day. You cannot buy back time. When I think about one of the reasons why I do it, it is the time savings because I juggle so much. Number two, when it comes to most moms, organization works best in chaos. You know, okay? Organization works best in chaos. If you're anything like me, okay, my days are boom, 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 boom. I'm about to pick them up. I'm about to run a boot camp. I'm about to go to the grocery store. Some days I gotta go to gymnastics. I gotta go to swim. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. Gotta get home. By the time I get home, I'm looking like, okay, what are we going to eat if I don't have any food in the fridge? But what my night looks like when I finish with boot camp and I come home, I literally walk in the house, tell them to wash your hands. We go into that refrigerator and I pull out the meal, take it out, put one meal prep meal in half, give one daughter one half, give the other daughter the other half, put it in the microwave, and we are done. So there is no standing no Chick-fil-A line. We are home. I bathe them. We sit, we talk, we read books, we have dance parties, and we go to bed. The end of my day is not chaotic. It is very organized. And that is one of the benefits of meal prep, okay? If you struggle with that and the end of your night and your day is chaotic because you're trying to figure out what to feed your kids, meal prepping is going to be a freaking lifesaver. I promise you that. The reason why I do it is because meal prepping puts me in control of my health and my food. The moment that you allow someone else to cook for you, whether that is takeout, whether that is at a restaurant, you are putting your nutrition and health in the hands of someone else. You don't know how much they're really putting into that food. You really don't know the ingredients. One can argue that we don't really know the ingredients on the label, but I'm going to hope that the FDA is regulating things the way that they should, and that people, what they put on the label is really what's on the label. But when it comes to a restaurant, people are going to cook food and serve your food the way that they eat it. So the moment that you do not cook your own food, you are putting your health and your nutrition in the hands of someone else, okay? And because I am very aware of what is going on with food labels and ingredients and all these other things, I cannot, for 80% of the time that I eat, trust someone else with my nutrition, okay? When I am cooking my foods, I am in control of the quality of foods that I'm buying, as well as the quantity of foods that I am buying. I'm aware of how much I am portioning out. I am aware if my child is allergic to something. I am really aware if something's in that food or not. Okay, so if you have a child with allergies or eczema and things like that, you have no control of it. A lot of this stuff is coming from our nutrition. It puts you in control of your food and your health. And if I had to sell anything to you, and I'm not trying to persuade you, okay, I'm not trying to persuade you at all, but if I had to tell you anything, that right there is one of the greatest benefits that you will get from meal prep. As you will learn, I keep everything 100, okay? So I'm gonna be 100 with you, okay? So we're gonna go into the downfalls and the pitfalls when it comes to meal prep, okay? And I'm gonna keep it 100. As of March 2022, okay, I can no longer argue that meal prepping and prepping your own meals in the kitchen is cheaper than buying takeout, okay? You used to be able to save money with meal prepping. That is at this point up for debate. But for me and my household, I don't care what I have to do. I'm going to continue to meal prep and cook my foods, because the thing that I know is there is a shortage going on of a bunch of foods. And some of these restaurants are still running like there's no shortage. So we have to then start to think, what are they substituting in this food? What's going on? Are they cutting back other places to save money? When I buy something, I know what's in it and I can trust that. Okay. So all money ain't good money. All right. But I'm going to spend my money and bet on myself and in my kitchen than taking the cheaper route and just continuing to buy fast food. The other drawback is the patience, okay? The patience and the sacrifice that it takes to actually meal prep, okay? Like I said, it's been a couple of football Sundays that I was looking at my husband just relaxing with his feet up, you know, having some snacks, the kids running around, and I'm in here, feet swollen and everything, in the kitchen cooking. And that was sometimes I had to have some kumbayas with myself. Like, what am I doing? Like, why can't I just do takeout or get something? and I had to refer back to my why. So another pitfall and downfall when it comes to meal prepping is the sacrifice that it takes of planning your meals and going grocery shopping and batching your foods, cutting the vegetables up ahead of time, all those different things. But for me, it's worth it. Some people don't also like the fact that they're eating the same food over and over again throughout the week. That is absolutely a easy fix. Okay, you just mix and match prep. Okay, you mix and match prep. You can batch prep. You can do freezer meals. There are different things you can do to change up the variety in your kitchen. The last thing I will say when it comes to things that deter people from meal prepping is those that have been brave-hearted and tried to meal prep before. You saw the little thing on Facebook from the Tasty video. You went and printed out the ingredients and it did not come out good. Either it didn't look like the picture on Pinterest on a Tasty video, or it tasted horrible, or you made so many mistakes that something that told you it was going to take 30 minutes to an hour, it took 3 to 4 hours to make. And so you said, it's a no, I'm never doing it again. Okay. And that honestly is one of the number one reasons why people don't meal prep. And I can tell you, 5, 6 years ago, that was me. I was spending 4 or 5 hours in the kitchen and I was just like, what is this? But I came up with a system. I came up with a framework. So I'm gonna share with you, how do you get started? The first thing you wanna do is you wanna start with the familiar. Start with what you know. If you are consistently cooking baked chicken, yellow rice, and green beans, meal prep that. Don't go on these little apps and see these recipes like, oh, homemade pasta, chicken marsala over homemade pasta with some air fryer crisp Brussels sprouts. Now you got to go and make sure and learn how to caramelize mushrooms perfectly. You also got to learn how to reduce wine for your marsala sauce, okay? And combine the cream and things of that nature. All right. If you want to learn how to cook chicken marsala, I have a beautiful recipe in Plant Eats. You don't spend all this time, okay, trying to cook 3 different foods that you have never ever cooked before. And you're frustrated because you done spent 3 or 4 hours. You done spent hundreds of dollars probably on appliances and foods trying to cook this beautiful meal that came out horrible. Or it took too much time. Or you didn't cook enough. All right. It only lasted 1 meal. So the best thing for you to do is to stick with what you can be consistent with. Start with what you know. Consistently meal prep those meals, okay? And once you do that, then you can move on with the unfamiliar. Now, I have a question for you, all right? Do you struggle with transitioning from the familiar to the unfamiliar? Let's say that you're that person that can cook your pork chops and your white rice and your vegetables every single day, no problem. But when you see these recipes, you struggle with even being brave enough to try because you're like, this is way too much, or you fail miserably with trying to find new recipes. You don't know what healthy looks like. You don't know how it's going to turn out. You have all these unknowns and you struggle with really transitioning from your comfort zone and the recipes that you do know to really starting to build a database of recipes that you would like to get to know. Let me know in the comments if that's something you struggle with. So how do you master this meal prep process while venturing into the unfamiliar? Okay, so once you have started to consistently meal prep with foods that you normally already cook, you have got that down pat. And now you want to challenge yourself and start picking out recipes. What do you do? Where do you start? The tip that I'm going to give you is that what you want to do is you want to find one new, okay, recipe that has a protein that you are familiar with cooking, has a carb that you are familiar with cooking with, and a vegetable that you're familiar with cooking with. You need one ingredient from each macro group, protein, carb, and fat, okay, that you're familiar with cooking with. When you can identify that in a recipe, that is a go. You don't want to start venturing into the unfamiliar. If you have never made lamb chops and you start doing lamb chops, that's going to put you right back into the area of frustration. And you're going to go right back to saying, you know what, I'm done with this. So the best way to move from the familiar to the unfamiliar is to find those proteins and carbs that you are familiar with cooking that may have a new sauce or a new vegetable to it or something. It should be very simple recipes, 3, 4, 5 ingredient recipes that the majority of the ingredients in that recipe you are familiar with its taste. So like you're not cooking a whole entire meal and it comes out horrible, and that you're familiar with how to actually cook it. Let's talk about how do you master this, okay? Let me give you my 5-step framework. The first thing is, again, you find your recipe. You stick to the recipe. You don't start venturing off and getting all these different recipes that you don't know nothing about, okay? We've already established that, all right? Step number 2 is the grocery run. Making sure that you have your grocery list, okay? Because what happens is when it's meal prep day and you are missing 5 of the 10 ingredients for the recipe, now you got to run back out to the store. And on Sundays, the stores are crazy. Now you got to drag your kids there. Now you have to stop midpoint. Maybe stuff is getting cold. Maybe stuff is getting stale. And you're like, you know what? Forget it. I'm done with it. So the second most important thing is building your grocery list. Making that grocery run and making sure everything is on that list. So your recipe, your grocery list down pat, okay? Step number 3, make sure you have all the tools and appliances that you need. Okay, if you're venturing out to the unfamiliar and you need a pasta making machine, or you need a new grill or something like that, or you need a potato peeler or whatever it is, a strainer, knives, whatever it is, it could be something basic to a measuring cup all the way to something like a pasta making machine. Make sure you have everything you need, because again, if you have to run out, you're going to say, forget it, I'm done with it. Okay, so find your recipe, make your grocery list and make your grocery run, and make sure you are fully stocked with everything appliance-wise as well as food-wise before you go in meal prep. Number 4 is the big meal prep day. All right, prep your meals. Prepping your meals, you have to learn a order, okay? Find what works for you. And the best way to find what works for you is to do it over and over again. Some people like to cook their carbs first and then their vegetables and then their protein. Some people like to do the protein first, then the carbs and the vegetables, okay? You find what works for you and you stick to it. You can Google, you can find what works for everybody else. But once you do all that, at the end of the day, you gotta find what works for you. So you're in the kitchen, you're doing your thing, you're cooking. Step number 5 comes in. And this is the one that people do not even remember. And this is the most time-consuming thing. And that is, do you have a place to store your food? People go out, they got their grocery list, they got all their stuff, and they got their food ready to be put in the refrigerator, and the refrigerator is filled to capacity, or they're batch prepping and making freezer meals. The freezer is filled to capacity. The Tupperware has food in it. They got to throw all the food out. Now they got to wash dishes. So after being in the kitchen for 2 hours, now they got to sit here and clean out the refrigerator. They got to get the Tupperware ready. And they like, you know what? This is just way too much. So if you follow this process, getting your recipe, making that grocery list, sticking to the grocery list, make sure you have all your appliances and everything that you need, cook your meals, find what works for you, stick to it, okay? Don't be discouraged. Learn from that process and make sure your refrigerator, your fridge, your containers are ready to go. If you follow that process, even starting from the one ingredient meals, simple ingredient meals, all the way to storage, and you consistently do it over and over again and keep showing up there, you will master meal prepping. So I want to actually invite you to my Plan Eats membership. If you don't know what Plan Eats is, it is my monthly membership where I have over 75 recipes at this time. Each recipe has macros calculated for it. I make sure that each recipe is balanced, okay? So you're not gonna get no recipes with no crazy amount of salt, crazy amount of fat, crazy amount of carbs. I take that hit in my kitchen. I cook it first, I taste it, my kids taste it, my husband tastes it. If the taste is there, it gets added to Plan Eats. Once it is added to Plan Eats, I then log it into my Fitness Pal and I look at what the macros are. If the macros are all over the place, I find a way to tweak the recipe until it is perfect macro-wise and taste-wise. Once that happens, it goes into Plan Eats, okay? I started this membership in October of 2021 with only 40 recipes, okay? It is now March 2022 and we are up to 75, almost 80 recipes, and I am growing every single month. Okay, if you follow me on Instagram, you know I'm cooking something every single week, two to three meals. Okay, so Not only do you get access to that, each month I give you 2 recipes a week with step-by-step instructions, because one of the downfalls of meal prepping is people don't know when to put the rice on. Like what I said in step number 4, finding that process of what to do first, second, third, or fourth. Okay. I actually give you a PDF file that tells you, okay, put your rice on now. Now do your chicken. Now do your shrimp. Do this, do your sauce, so that you can cut time in the kitchen. Between both of those meals, I have balanced the macros to make sure that by combining two meals, you're not going over on your fat, you're not going over on your salt, not going over on your carbs. So when if you cook both of those meals that I plan for that week, it's gonna put you in a nice common area of a good place for your macros for your lunch and your dinner. I also have some breakfast recipes in there. I have salads, I have smoothies in there, sides in there. I have the whole nine so that people really can be successful with meal prep. On top of the access to the meal plan each month and the recipes, you also get access to my on-demand videos where I dive deeper into meal prep, actually show you how to create a strategy for your lifestyle and plan out when you're going to the grocery store, when you're going to do meal prep, when you're going to do this, when you're going to do that. I'll walk you through that. You also get access to resources and guides and the whole nine so that you can be as successful as possible. And you get access to my free Facebook group where you can sit there and ask me any questions that you want. Meal prep. I go live a lot in that group as I'm meal prepping and I'm giving tips. So you get all this support. Okay. So I'm giving you this free of charge for 7 days. I'm going to give you a 7-day complimentary trial to my Plan Ease membership. Okay. If you go to use the link below. Okay. All right, you guys. So don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Virtuous Bodies. You can find me in my stories making the meals that I'm adding to Plan Eats, running behind my kids, or going on another date night with my hubby. Okay, shoot me a DM. Let me know you're from YouTube so I can say, "Hey, girl, it's nice to meet you." And I'm excited about this episode. I hope that this episode is a blessing to you and your family. Okay, because it has been life changing to me. Okay. Meal prepping and meal planning has saved my life. It allowed me to be intentional with what I'm feeding my family and myself. It allowed me to consistently show up in my home and to nurture my temple and my kids' temple and my husband's temple with food and nutrition that we need to be the people of God that God needs us to be. Okay. And most of all, personally, it helped me reach my weight loss goals. I have lost over 35 pounds with both pregnancies after 2 C-sections with meal prepping alone. You will hear me say it consistently time after time after time. Yes, I can work out all day long, but you cannot outwork a bad diet. And meal prepping was the key to help me to lose those 35 pounds twice after 2 C-sections. And you can do it too. If you like my video, please subscribe to my channel. Okay. Let me know below in the comments. Okay. If you like this video, if you want to see more about meal prepping on this channel, let me know. I would love to hear from you guys. And I will check in with you guys later. You guys have a beautiful day.